Before we get started with the video today, guys, I want to let you viewers out there know that only a small fraction of you guys currently watching are actually subscribed to my channel, so make sure to smash that subscribe button for instant updates about videos that I release and other announcements, and also smash that like button to help my channel out. Enjoy the video. Yo, what is up guys? It is Samool here, back with another Epic 7 video for you guys today. And today I have another tier list for you guys. Now today's tier list is actually going to be ranking all of the collab units that have come out from Guilty Gear, from ReZero, from Tensura, and from the Kizuna AI collab as well that ran last year. Even though that wasn't a huge collab, it was technically a collaboration, so we're going to include it in the list as well. And I'm going to be ranking them in PvP and PvE for you guys. Now, I'm going to start off with the PvP tier list and also explain my thoughts in why they belong in each tier. Now, first off, at the top of S tier, now keep in mind, S tier are all very strong units, and it's very hard to place each of these units above one another, but they are the top 3 best PvP units for the collab units for sure, in my opinion. But first off, we have Rimuru. Now, whether Rimuru's number 1 or Rem's number 1 or Emilia's number 1 is all very debatable, to be honest, but in my opinion, I like Rimuru better because Rimuru actually counters Rem and Emilia. He is a earth unit and he has one-shot potential against both of them. Rimuru is a crazy single target nuke unit. He just came out. If you guys haven't pulled him yet, please pull him. He's very strong in PvP. If you guys have fought against him or fought with him, you know his damage potential. You can build him on a pretty tanky build and he can still one-shot every squishy in the game. Also ignores elemental disadvantage, so he's very powerful. And he's just a nuisance on the field because he can steal buffs as well, making him very good against like Maid Chloe, just anything that stacks buffs, right? So very powerful unit. Single target damage is off the charts, and he's just very strong at the moment. He's very highly contested in RTA. Next on the list after Rimuru, we have Rem. So Rem, when she first came out, was also a huge threat. She still is a very huge threat. She's one of the most common defense units in the game because you guys already know her counter RNG is insane. If you fight against Rem on Arena or even Guild Wars defense, you guys know that her counter attack does not feel like 30% chance. It feels like literally like 90. It's very annoying. She can one-shot squishies, or just about one-shot squishies with just one counter AoE attack. So very powerful. She's also very good against units that die very quickly, like Tibeauthetraveler, because of her demon mode, making her unbuffable and making her do so much damage. And she also has lifesteal with Sigurd's Scythe, so very powerful unit. Next we have Emilia. I think Emilia has taken over the spot as the best attack buffer in RTA at least. It used to be Maid Chloe, but very closely followed behind by Emilia, but now I think Emilia is better because of Rimuru being out. Everyone has a Rimuru, and he kind of hard counters Maid teams, especially if Maid Chloe is speed tuned to go first on the team, which usually is the case. So very powerful attack buffer with her CR push. She has a lot of cleansing, and you run her on her own artifact, which makes her pretty tanky. So I think she's very strong. I'm definitely S tier for sure in RTA, and even on offense team she's very good. She's just not as great on defense. Now next, at the top of A tier, this may come to a surprise to you guys or may not, but we have Milim. So Milim is the next unit that came out after Rimuru for the Tensura collab. Now the thing is, Milim is thought of as a very annoying unit. People really thought that she was going to be very strong because of her kit, but her single target damage output's pretty low. The problem is, I think people haven't figured out the best build for her, so maybe she'll jump up to S tier maybe. But the thing is, people are building her as like a speed contester, not speed contester, but like as like a top model Luca build where you go like 250 speed, damage, and very squishy. But if you do it like that, it's very hard to activate her S2. And her S2 is actually her biggest damage ability. It does so much damage, guys, and a lot of people aren't utilizing it. I even tested her out on counter, and I think that might be better. But for now, it is a little bit early to judge her, but I'm going to say that she's A tier. I think she may be S tier if people find out the best build for her, but for right now, I'm going to put her in A tier. Her damage is not that great until you can get her S2 off, but you need to survive to get your S2 off, so it's kind of a coin flip, right? Because you have to evade and rely on RNG. But yeah, next after Milim, we have Shuna, I think, right? So this unit, I haven't really tested out because I'm waiting to get the free 6-star fur, which you guys should do as well. If you guys wait long enough from the event, we should be getting all the copies of Shuna, and then we can all upgrade her for free. I'm pretty sure, right? They'll give us all the copies, similar to Ram in the ReZero collab and Soul in the Guilty Gear collab. So if you just wait, you'll be able to 6-star her, and we will be able to test her out more. But for now, I think she is A tier looking at her kit. She has a very unique kit. She has the health redistribution or whatever, and then she has somewhat of like a control role while being able to do damage and heal. So very stacked kit, but whether or not it'll fit into the meta is hard to say. But just looking at the kit, I'm going to put her in the middle of A tier. Next, after Shuna, we have Elphelt. So Elphelt is a very, very good cleaver. Not much to say after that. She just initiates and defense breaks everyone for you. So very strong as a cleave opener. Next in B tier, it might come to a surprise to you guys, but we have Baiken. So Baiken's actually a pretty decent rem counter if you build her fast enough. She has a built-in CR push, which a lot of people don't know, because people usually just slap her into your, Banshee one-shot team. But as a PvP opener, she's actually not terrible. There are going to be some situations where you can't use her, obviously, but she's actually pretty underrated, and that's why she's at the top of B tier. Very good initiator, especially against like ice units you want to snipe out, like Ram, SSB, and so forth. Next, we have Dizzy. So Dizzy used to be S tier on every defense when she first came out, but control is not as strong anymore, but she's still okay. Especially in RTA, if you can draft her as like a last pick, as a counter to a team that doesn't have an answer to her, such as like G-Purge, LR Crow, or any immunity, or anything that counters AoE, which is hard to do because Ram is in the game as well, and is always contested, and Rimuru is highly contested as well. But if you do find that perfect draft, she's basically unbeatable, so that's why she's in the middle of B tier. Next, we have Kizuna AI. So Kizuna AI is actually not that bad. She's actually pretty good with her attack buff. Kind of works similar to Maid Chloe, except instead of a revive, it's a barrier, which is slightly weaker. But she also, has some cleansing and some okay healing, so I'm going to put her at the bottom of B tier. I don't think she's great, but she's not on the same tier as the C tier units, which I'm going to get into right now, which are Soul and Ram. So Soul and Ram are basically just PvE units, in my opinion. Soul you can use as like a Kairon counter, I guess, but there's so many units that counter Kairon, you don't really need him. So it's best to just use him in your Golem team or whatever PvE team you're using. He's an okay free-to-play PvE unit, but pretty bad in PvP. And kind of the same with Ram. Ram is very, very good in Ice Expedition, very, very good in Banshee one-shot, but everywhere else she's not that great. So that's pretty much the PvP tier list for the collab units that are released so far. Now let's get into the PvE tier list. Now for the PvE tier list, you'll kind of see that it's like slightly reversed, except there are some units that still stayed at the top or some units that still stayed at the bottom. So starting off with the S tier, we have Dizzy. Dizzy is very, very, very good in Abyss. If you're struggling with high Abyss 4s, just use Dizzy. She is crazy with their CR push. Her debuffs are so good in Abyss. As long as the boss doesn't have a mechanic where they can't get debuffed too much, you're going to want to use her. She's just crazy strong. There's not much to say about her. She's just really strong in PvE with her debuff control. She just makes your team take so much more or less damage. And yeah, very, very powerful. Now Baiken, very strong in Banshee one-shot and Ice Expedition. She's just so good at both of them that she's S tier by default. She is the easiest to gear for Banshee one-shot. You can literally not even have her on rage set. Put her on like the free attack set that you get at the beginning of the game, and you can still one-shot Banshee. It's pretty crazy. So very strong. Next we have Ram, kind of for the same reason as Baiken, except Ram is slightly harder to gear than Baiken for Banshee one-shot, but she is way stronger in Ice Expedition, so it makes her very, very strong. The only reason I have her below Baiken is because getting your Banshee one-shot team up earlier is better than getting your Ice Expedition team better, right? Because you really want to get into Banshee ASAP with all these good units that rely on the Banshee sets. And Expedition teams, honestly, you can always put on the back burner and rely and focus on later, and it's fine. But later on, you do want to focus on those Ice Expedition teams and just any Expedition team in general. And Ram is your go-to DPS for Ice Expedition. Next, we have Rem. So Rem isn't really used too much in PvE, but the reason I have her in S tier is because she is a free unit, and she is actually very strong in Wyvern one-shot. Now, people do run Sigret, right? But Rem is technically easier to gear because you abuse dual attacks. The only problem is that the run will be a little bit slower because Rem relies on more turns being, taken to kill the Wyvern. And also, Rem is very strong in PvP at the moment, so if you gear her for Wyvern one-shot, you can't use her in PvP. For some reason, you have two Rems because you saw into the future and saw the one-shot team, and you use one for Wyvern one-shot and one for PvP. Sure, kind of like SSB, right? But very, very good in Wyvern one-shot, and that's why I have her in S tier, because getting your Wyvern one-shot team early is very, very important because it makes you able to take advantage of the hunt buff days where you can spam Wyvern super fast and use all your leaps and sky stones on it and get all the gear you want, because Wyvern is going to be the hunt you farm the most for the most gear because speed set's super strong in this game. Next, we have Soul. So Soul is a single target damage dealer. When he first came out, he was actually god tier in Abyss, in like everywhere. But now he's not as strong, but he's still very, very good. He is a free 6-star unit. If you have him I wouldn't invest too much into him. You can just use him in like Golem, even Earth Expedition if you want. Actually, probably not Earth Expedition. I take that back. You can use him in Abyss until you get like your Celerina or your Luna or Landy running, and you can even use him in like Raid as well as a single target damage dealer. It's not terrible. Next, we have the A tier, or the A tier, right, units. So number 1, we have Kizuna AI. So this unit is actually slept on a lot. She's actually very good because of her attack buff. You can use her as an attack buffer in Banshee one-shot teams. She also has decent cleansing. If you make her super fast, she cleanses pretty well, and she heals okay as well. The only problem is she is a 4-star unit, so that means you have to invest Mola into her to make her good, and Epic Catalyst. I think if Smilegate made her a 3-star unit where you didn't need to use Mola on her and Epic Catalyst, people would use her a lot more. But unfortunately, because she is 4-star unit, she's not going to be S tier. Although I do think her kit is pretty decent for PvE actually. Just investing into her is just bad, right? You don't want to invest into her too much because she's going to take your Molas away, and then also she's not like the best, right? Until you get like Tamarin, you can use her, but once you get Tamarin, there's no point of using her ever. So yeah. Next we have Emilia. So Emilia, honestly, she probably should be B tier, but I'm going to put her in A tier because she is one of my favorite waifus from the collab so far. And also, the reason why I think she's B tier is because her S2 targeting is weird. It will never target your highest DPS always, or highest attack unit. It'll target your highest CR unit, which is kind of weird. But I guess in some manual areas of content, like in Raid, if you really need like a cleanser, an attack buffer, she's okay. But otherwise, like, she's not that great. But it's hard for me to put her in B tier because I think she is better than the other units. Next we have Shuna. So she could be A tier. I haven't actually tested her too much in PvE, nor has like a lot of people. But looking at her kit, I think it's not that terrible. The only thing is like sleep is not that great. Like control in PvE is not that good, right? But her barrier and her HP redistribution is pretty interesting. But for now, I'd put her in B tier. Honestly, this is kind of a question mark. So if you guys have any other differing opinions about this unit, let me know in the comments down below. Next, we have Rimuru. So Rimuru is a PvP god, but not so much in PvE because fixed damage kind of sucks, honestly, because the thing is, bosses have so much health late game, and your S3, like fixed damage, is going to do less damage than Daydream Joker, a 3-star artifact. So there's no real point of using him. The only point of using him would be like to steal some buffs that the boss has, but you can't really manipulate that too well, so C tier. Next, we have Milim, so also a PvP unit. Evasion, single target damage is pretty bad, not that great. I don't think she's that good for PvE. So yeah, Elphelt, similar to Milim, strictly PvP. Actually, similar to Rimuru as well, strictly PvP. But she can be used as a defense breaker. Actually, I take this back. I'm going to put her in A tier because she's good in KDs. And KDs teams are really annoying to build. So if you were looking at this list and you're like, why is Elphelt C tier? She's so good in KDs. You're right. She's very, very good in KD's one-shot team. Honestly, maybe even S tier. But sure, I'll put her here. She's actually very good in KD's in the one-shot team. My bad. But yeah, Elphelt, strictly used for KD's one-shot. You can use her in other one-shots as well. Put her in S tier. I kind of forgot about that when I was making this tier list, but it just came to mind. So yeah, Elphelt, very, very good unit. Probably even better than Soul and Rem maybe, like here. But Elphelt, very, very good, underrated. If you're looking for a good KD's team or, you know, a defense breaker for some one-shot teams and you are lacking one, but you have Elphelt, she can be used in some certain niche comps, but she's actually very, very good in those comps. So that's pretty much it for my collab PvP and PvE tier list. If you guys disagree, it's okay. Just keep in mind, it's my own opinion. Tier lists don't mean that's actually how strong they are. That's just my experience with them. So if you guys have differing opinions, let me know down in the comments down below, and I'd be happy to read your comments and reply to them, and we can maybe have a discussion, and I'll take it into account for the next collab tier list that I make. As always, guys, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps my channel out a lot, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.